It won't belong to them. The first indication will be tranquility, even if they may stroll in plenty. Even though you've just recently met, there's a calm that calms your anxieties and makes you feel at home. Imagine a pair of tuning forks. When you strike one, the other starts to vibrate and make the same noise. Together, they were intended to resonate. When you come into contact with this individual, that is what will occur in your soul. Harmony won't have to be forced upon you. Lust or fleeting desire will not be the foundation of this awareness. It will have a mystical quality. To persuade yourself that it is too wonderful to be true, you can even attempt to doubt it. However, your soul will continue to return to that tranquility. You'll see that their prayers are heard. What God has been secretly speaking to you will be in line with what they say. The lessons you learned throughout your waiting season will be reflected in their character. In the second book, chapter 6, verse 14, the apostle reminds us in his epistle to the Corinthians, avoid becoming associated with unbelievers. For what is the connection between evil and righteousness? Or how darkness and light may be friends? You are not to be constrained by this passage. Its purpose is to keep you safe. Many previous relationships seemed like walking against the wind because of it. There is never harmony between your spirit and theirs. However, the reverse will be true for the one God is sending. You won't strive, you'll stroll in stride. Additionally, the minor details will be confirmed. Discussions that seem familiar, like if you've been friends for years. Silence that is comforting rather than burdensome. Laughter that flows effortlessly like streams over stones. These aren't random occurrences. They serve as alignment marks. Consider a key and a lock. You could have been trying to open your heart's lock with the incorrect keys for years. They never opened it, even when they rotated partially, scratched the surface, or even broke the lock. On the other hand, the correct key will easily glide in, spin smoothly, and open what was before closed. When the perfect person walks in, it will feel like that. And just as your spirit recognizes them, this identification will not be biased. You will also be recognized by their spirit. They won't be perplexed by your worth. They won't second-guess your role in their lives either. Divine connection is characterized by mutual recognition. Let's look at the tale of a selected person who had had enough of false beginnings. Maybe she was destined to go alone, and she had almost given up. Then, one day, she had an unexpected encounter right away. Clarity prevailed, and there was no trying, proving, or performing. She would later claim that it wasn't fireworks. The flame remained constant. Heaven was the source of the flame, which never extinguished. God's timing is like that. There may not be any obvious symptoms, but when the fake comes out, it will emerge with unwavering confidence. When the real one comes, you struggle with questions. The inquiries wane. Selected one. For this reason, you need to maintain your spiritual sensitivity. Suspicion is not the same as discernment. Listening is key. You won't be misled by your inner soul. You won't be confused today by the same God who kept you safe throughout your loneliness. Consider a shepherd and his livestock as well. A stranger's voice is not followed by the sheep. Their shepherd's voice is familiar to them. Similarly, your heart will recognize this person's voice because their words will reflect the same spirit that communicates with you. You had to wait because of this recognition. You wouldn't have had time to identify the proper individual if the wrong one had remained. The calm little voice of confirmation would have been smothered if you had hurried into a counterfeit. God made it possible for you to hear the real one clearly when they appear and talk. Your fame won't be short-lived. With time, it will go deeper. The resonance becomes stronger the more you walk together. What starts off as harmony will develop into trust, and covenant will take the place of trust. Therefore, don't be concerned about missing them. You can't ignore the alignment of heaven. Your job is to be alert when they show up, not to pursue them. You'll be aware. Before you can even believe it, your spirit will witness. Promises are the foundation of every covenant. However, not every pledge is equally significant. Men's pledges may not hold up over time. However, the promises made in heaven remain intact. The union that God has planned for you is mentioned. It is not a flimsy commitment. It is a spirit-sealed covenant. Furthermore, it goes beyond what is spoken at an altar. It's possible that you have heard empty statements before. I will always be with you. I'll be here forever. Emotionally charged promises that are forgotten during a trial. You were hurt by their statements because they were rootless. Like seeds planted in hard soil, they were readily plucked away and never came to fruition. However, God's plan will be different. When your soulmate makes vows, they won't just say them. Their agreement with God shall be the source of them. Imagine a bridge spanning deep seas. When weight is applied, a weak bridge wobbles and cracks. But a covenant commitment is like a steel and stone reinforced bridge. It holds because its basis has been tried and proven, not because it looks good. Your partner's remarks will be significant because they will be based on obedience to God. Everyone who hears these words and applies them is like a wise man who built his home on the rock, as Jesus himself said in Matthew 7, verse 24 of his gospel. The foundation of this partnership will be rock, not sand. And as a result, it won't collapse even when storms, rain, and wind may approach. Temporary feelings are not as powerful as the language of covenant. It has its roots in fate and choice. You'll hear them pray about it. They will offer up prayers for you in addition to for themselves. The scent of covering and safety will permeate their sentences. They will proclaim God's desire for your life, not only discuss plans for the future. This is the covenantal language, declaring faith, speaking life, and resolving to stand because it is ordered, not because it is simple. On the battlefield, picture a soldier. Because of his flimsy devotion, a mercenary may run away as the conflict becomes intense. However, a covenant warrior refuses to leave the one at his side and stands with his shields high. God is creating a connection like that for you. Furthermore, creativity is carried via language. You will start speaking new things into existence together. Assignments, visions, and dreams that are impossible to accomplish separately. Words are like seeds, and seeds that bear fruit for centuries will be sowed in this relationship. Let's go back to the vineyard picture. Grapes may be produced on a single vine. However, vines yield a lot when they are managed and interwoven. Every word of encouragement and every expression of trust will produce another cluster of fruit in the covenant you are entering, which will resemble a vineyard. It's not only you who can enjoy this fruit. It is for those who, by the evidence of your marriage, will taste and know that God is good. Selected 1. Your ears have been educated to discriminate between genuine and false speech by your waiting. You are aware of the hurt caused by broken promises. However, you will quickly discover the power of fulfilled promises. The person God sends won't need to use pretentious rhetoric to persuade you. They will be more consistent than they are verbal. What they say will be reflected in their behavior. Their dedication will be shown by their covering. Covenant should not be feared. Bondage is not what covenant is. It's liberty. You no longer have to worry about getting left behind. It releases you from doubt. It relieves you of the burden of bearing everything by yourself. Every day, two people decide to travel together under the watchful eye of heaven. And keep in mind that this covenant was always intended by God, even if your history causes you to pause and your wounds warn you to be cautious. God has always rejoiced in partnerships that demonstrate his faithfulness, from Adam and Eve in the garden to Ruth and Boaz in the fields. This thought is not human. It's a celestial one. Therefore, don't be shocked by the weight of the language of covenant when it starts to come from your soulmate's mouth. Instead, accept it. Respect it because it won't be stated carelessly and it won't be easily broken. The writing on these pledges is not disappearing. The rock of gods will have them engraved on it. The covenant that is being given to you is not brittle. It's protected, and when it is spoken, it will become the tune that sustains your marriage through all of life's ups and downs, including the future. Being concealed has a sacred quality. You could have felt ignored, forgotten, or even invisible for years. Actually, however, you were being kept safe. You were hidden by God. You were valuable, not because you weren't deserving. He protected you from those who couldn't appreciate your worth. People who would have taken advantage of your emotions. People who would drain your oil. Imagine a precious gem tucked away in the middle of a mountain. It is not put out in the open for everyone to walk on, waiting for the right hands to find it at the right moment. It lies concealed in the shadows. Heaven has treated you that way. Covered, hidden, kept safe, and selected. Your protection has been this concealing season. You were being molded in quiet, while others showed off in front of fake affection. You were learning to walk with God invisibly while others look for attention. Because of this, it won't be delicate when you uncover it. They'll fortify it. Through the prophet Isaiah, the Spirit communicated. Verse 2 of chapter 14. In the shadow of his palm, he made my lips like a sharpened blade. He concealed me. In his quiver, he fashioned me a polished arrow. The polished arrow is you. We haven't forgotten you. You've been sharpened. Additionally, God will release you at the ideal time, striking the precise target. Allow me to tell you about another selected individual. She kept finding disappointment instead of the affection she so desperately wanted. Perhaps she had a problem, she thought. Perhaps she was meant to remain invisible. However, she was unaware that God was preserving her for a man who had also been concealed, patiently waiting, constructing dutifully, and working silently. Their encounter was like two stars emerging from the same night sky when the revelation eventually took place. They had first learnt to shine in the dark, so their light was greater. You shouldn't be angry about the season of hiding because of this. The butterfly that emerges is evidence of the cocoon's purpose, despite the cocoon seeming lonely. There would be no metamorphosis if it weren't for the concealing. And you'll see it shortly. The curtain is being lifted by God. He's getting ready to introduce you to the one who is ready to see your value, not to everyone else. Who, rather of being scared by your brilliance, will shield it and make it shine even more brilliantly. You'll see why the concealing was required when that reveal occurs. You'll realize that every nay, every hold-up, and every quiet served as protection rather than rejection. This was the exact hour you were being held. I now want you to make a statement to ground this insight. Post in the Hidden for Glory comment section. Why these terms, too? As they perfectly encapsulate your trip. Not to be forgotten, you are not concealed. To be ready, you are concealed. You are announcing that your season of quiet was never lost by writing Hidden for Glory. You are being prepared for the revelation. You are bringing yourself into line with God's viewpoint, refusing to see your past as preparation rather than abandonment. This little statement is more than just a remark. It's a declaration of faith. I accept the procedure, it says. I have faith in the time. I think there will be splendor at the unveiling. You are also acknowledging heaven's justification for keeping you safe up to this point when you write it. The goal of the concealing has been fulfilled. It will soon be unveiled, and it won't happen at random when heaven sends you. It'll be enlightening. You shouldn't be shocked if the reveal seems abrupt. For you, what seems to be a sudden change has been developing for years. Heaven acts quickly in manifestation, but slowly in preparation. Consider the bud of a flower. It seems the same for weeks, tightly closed and almost dead. Then one morning, it explodes, spewing scent and color. Overnight, nothing occurred. All along, it was growing in silence. It will be the same with your reveal. For this reason, you should be grateful for your hidden season. You may not have developed the depth, discernment, and fortitude you currently possess by proclaiming Hidden for Glory without it. You are making the decision to see your waiting as a womb of destiny rather than as a waste of time. What heaven has been protecting will soon be revealed to the earth. And it won't simply be about your happiness when it occurs. Testimony will be the topic. God is still faithful, and your unveiling will serve as a reminder to others who feel forgotten. Their stillness will be spoken by your narrative. When God is the author, waiting is never wasted. The covenant you are entering carries a great deal of splendor. God has provided this soulmate and affluent companion, who is not only a provision for today, but also a destiny for future. You are about to don a cloak that will shine brighter than you could ever have imagined, one that bears the splendor of marriage. Consider it this way. Two flames do not extinguish one another when they come together. They have a brighter, stronger, and higher burn. By themselves, you've been dependable. Together, however, you will become an unmasked torch. Your light will brighten others' pathways and lead them to think that God still creates love, provision, and destiny. This picture comes from chapter 4, verse 12 of the book of Ecclesiastes. Two can protect themselves even if one is overwhelmed. Three-stranded cords do not break easily. It will be a threefold cord in your marriage. The everlasting thread that ties it all together is God, your soulmate, and you. Storms won't break it because of this. Envy will not shake it because of this. Your relationship will be a source of honor because of this. But there's more to this. You're not the only person wearing this mantle. It has to do with what God wishes to make known through you. People will witness a live parable in your marriage. Their loyalty will be rewarded. Provision will be doubled for them. Many doubters will mutter, "If God did it for them, He can do it for me." They will see the covenant being upheld. Consider entering a cathedral. The floor is painted in hues as sunlight filters through stained glass. The glass is brittle, but it becomes stunning when the light comes through. Your union will be like that. Two individuals, each with their own weaknesses and fissures. But beauty blossoms when the light of God shows through. Although it won't be perfect, your marriage will be wonderful. Your story matters because of this. Not just for you, but also for the many others who will eventually hear it. Your words, prayers, and testimonies will all have an impact that resembles waves on a quiet lake. I keep spreading these things for that reason. They are similar to wind-borne seeds. I may never see the dirt I land on, developing in hearts I may never encounter. Additionally, it indicates that the seed has found fertile ground if you have received this notification. I want to gently and truly ask you to assist maintain this garden alive if these words have given you hope or reminded you of your value. It's like opening a window to let light into someone else's darkness when you decide to like or share. Knowing that there will always be water to replenish your spirit makes subscribing like going back to the well time and time again. And if you ever feel moved to give, consider it as pouring oil into a lamp because you want to see it shine brighter, reach further, and warm more hearts. Not because the flame will go out without you. Here, there is no pressure. Generosity must be voluntarily chosen, just like love. A garden flourishes because someone voluntarily sprinkled water out of love, not because someone asked for it. That is the core of assistance. It's optional. It's lovely. It is revered. These comments often remind me of a lighthouse perched on a precipice. Ships are directed towards safe harbor and away from rocks by the constant light. However, oil is necessary for the lighting in every lighthouse. Each ray of light is the product of calm, devoted care. Giving, whether it be in the form of donations, time, sharing, or subscriptions, puts oil in the lamp and guarantees that others will continue to be guided by it through their turbulent times. The splendor of your upcoming covenant is not supposed to be concealed, chosen one. Together, we are creating a sanctuary that keeps giving people's hearts more strength, just as you are getting ready to enter a love that covers and gives. Therefore, if this word has affected you, pause and react any way you believe is appropriate. Spread the word so that someone else's heart might discover it just when they are about to give up. To ensure you don't miss the next round of support that is waiting for you, subscribe. Additionally, if you decide to give, know that it is appreciated like rain on dry land, but not required, preserving the lushness and vitality of the garden of these words. The beauty of marriage is almost here. You're not just entering a romantic relationship. You're going to testify now. You're not just entering the field of supply. You are entering the purpose of the covenant. And as your union's light starts to shine, it will not only make you feel better, but also give others hope. Be prepared. Be thankful. Remain optimistic because the splendor that awaits you will surpass the suffering you have through. Only through unity can there be a healing. You have wounds that no one else can see since you have traversed valleys by yourself. Carelessly said words caused some injuries. Others resulted from prematurely broken promises. Some of them came from quiet, the type of silence that makes you doubt your own value. However, the healing that occurs when God sends this soulmate into your life will come from their covering rather than from their perfection. They're not coming to take away your history, but rather to walk with you through it, turning suffering into witness. Imagine a harp by itself with shattered strings. It creates dissonance instead of melody. However, the harp sings once again, this time with deeper, fuller tones when a deft hand repairs and rests it patiently. You'll live your life like that. The person standing by your side will know how to gently treat your heart, turning the pieces of you that previously seemed useless into tools of beauty. This reality is immediately addressed by the ancient passages found in Hosea 6:6, 1:1. Let's go back to the Lord, please. He has ripped us apart, but he will put us back together. He will bandage our wounds, even if he has hurt us. Yes, you were ripped apart in certain areas. Yes, those who did not respect you caused you harm. However, God's Spirit and the covenant vessel he has selected for you are the means by which healing is occurring. This recovery won't be coerced. You'll start to relax when you've prepared yourself for disappointment because it will seem natural, like sunshine thawing frozen ground, where you will start to trust after previously harboring skepticism. After hiding your scars, you will start to show them off since you won't be afraid of being rejected because of them. Think about a chosen one who constructed walls so high that no one could scale them. She learned to grin while protecting her heart since she had been wounded too often. And then God sent one. Gently, slowly, and deliberately, he demonstrated that she didn't need her barriers. The fortress she had constructed was eroded by every act of generosity, every prayer spoken over her, and every consistent moment. She allowed him in one day without even noticing. And as soon as she did, healing started to move through the arid terrain like water. Union healing does not guarantee that your partner will make things right. It implies that they will support you while God fixes what was damaged. Their affection will provide a secure environment where injuries serve as a platform for God's glory rather than as a cause of embarrassment. Imagine a garden after a storm. It's possible to find broken branches, flattened blooms, and scattered dirt. However, the garden not only heals, but often becomes stronger and more vibrant than before when the gardener arrives and provides careful care, including watering and trimming. That garden is your heart. It was not destroyed by the storm, and God will send the proper gardener shortly to care to gnaw and restore beauty. Additionally, this healing will be reciprocal. Those who have been waiting, yearning, and bearing wounds are not alone. Your love will turn into a haven where you may both find healing since your partner has also been through difficult times. It's critical to keep in mind that this is about cooperation rather than reliance. Healing increases, wounds heal more quickly, joy deepens, and faith becomes stronger. Selected one. Don't worry that your scars will make you ineligible. They're a part of your narrative, and part of your greatness is your tale. Your past won't turn off the one God sends. They will respect it as evidence of your power. They will witness resilience where others saw destruction. They will see bravery where others saw weakness. And healing will be unstoppable when that awareness is there. Because of what God has planned through them, not because of who they are. Hold on, then. The quiet agony season is coming to an end. The time for collective healing is almost here. The burden will no longer rest solely on you. With someone who believes in you, prays with you, covers you, and sees you the way heaven always has, you will walk hand in hand. The end is not your scars. They mark the start of a love tale in which every damaged area serves as evidence of God's capacity for restoration. Sometimes, indications from heaven start to appear. They are subtle, accurate confirmations that are like whispers on the wind, but they are seldom spectacular. Come, get your heart ready for what is coming. It might be in a dream that follows you into the next day. It could occur during a discussion that seems too relevant to be a coincidence. It could even be in the sense that Scripture seems to be written just for you and suddenly speaks directly to your circumstances. These aren't just coincidences. Imagine a traveler at night before the dawn rises. They are heaven's way of saying, "Get ready, for what I promised is coming." The horizon lights up. Gradually, the shadows disappear. The traveler is also aware that dawn is approaching. These indicators are soft lights on your horizon, even if the sun hasn't come yet. They serve as a reminder that your covenant's full dawn is drawing near. This statement is recorded by the prophet Jeremiah in verse 3 of chapter 33. Give me a call, and I'll answer and tell you amazing, uncanny stuff you're unaware of. God is answering your unsaid prayers via these indicators. Each one is intended to reassure you that you are not missed, forgotten, or purposefully delayed. Let's look at the tale of a selected individual who started to see butterflies everywhere. At first, it seemed arbitrary, but each time it occurred, she prayed for her future. Later on, she understood that the butterflies represented the end of her season of hiding and the imminence of change. She soon came upon the person God had been preparing for her. What started out as a sign turned into a personal satisfaction. The indicators could vary. For some, it will be the ideal moment for opportunity to align. For others, it can be the unexpected return of happiness or a tranquility that defies logic. The goal is the same regardless of form: to inform you that heaven is in motion. Don't take these indications for granted. Recognize them. Note them down. Offer your prayers for them. Every indicator serves as a stepping stone that leads you to the covenant promise on the other side of the river of doubt. Selected 1. It's time to react with trust now. Conclude this time with a prophecy. Put 555 in the comment section. Why this particular number? Since 5 is a symbol of grace. You were showered with God's unmerited grace. You are announcing threefold grace over your life by writing 555. The ability to wait fearlessly, grace to be given without question, and the courage to enter the covenant that He has prepared. It's more than simply a figure. It is a flag of faith raised above your fate. Let that number serve as a constant reminder that you are not being carried by your strength. It's a gift from God. You will be guided into promise by the same grace that sustained you throughout pain. You will now be surrounded with covenant love, which is the same grace that protected you throughout your loneliness. So have bravery. There are indications. The grace is pouring. You may be surprised to learn that your affluent partner is nearby. The horizon is bright. The dawn of hope is approaching. And keep in mind that grace is a protection as well as a kind gift. What your effort cannot cover, grace does. When you were too weak to push, grace opens doors for you. Hearts that appeared unbreakable are softened by grace. For this reason, you are announcing 555 to rest rather than to demand. I don't rely on my own strength, you remark. I imagine a bird flying as I rely on His grace. It doesn't flap incessantly with fatigue. The wind is caught and allowed to blow. That's the feeling of elegance. You aren't trying anymore. An unseen river that was always there and waiting for you to believe it is lifting you as you glide. Thus, let 555 to serve as a reminder of this fact each time you write or mumble. By grace, you are brought into the arms of the one God has prepared, not forgotten, not abandoned. And you will grin when you look back at the signals on that day. You'll see that none of them were arbitrary. Each one guided you securely into covenant promise and served as a breadcrumb along the way. Don't hurry. Do not be afraid. The sun will rise with all of its might from the same God who illuminated the horizon. Keep your heart prepared, your soul alert, and your eyes open till then. The indications are more than just clues. They are heaven's guarantee that everything is going according to plan for your narrative. The riches and provision being unleashed via this marriage are the result of a divine plan. It's not only about being comfortable financially. It is about stability that extends beyond you into generations who have not yet been born, even if comfort will arrive. God has a plan in place to make sure your family won't experience the same cycles of instability, fear, or lack that characterized your past. Imagine a foundation stone placed at the start of a magnificent structure. It is the foundation of every wall, floor, and window. The house will last for generations if the stone is sturdy. Should it be weak, the home will fall apart. That cornerstone is the marriage God has planned for you. You and your soul mate will build a foundation so strong that even strangers who are moved by your story will find security in it, as well as children and grandkids. In his epistle to the Romans, the Apostle Paul writes in verse 13 of chapter 15, "As you put your confidence in the God of hope, may he fill you with peace and joy so that, by the power of the Holy Spirit, you may be filled with hope." I'll spill over. That's the crucial term. Not for survival. Overflow, not just enough. You will transition from cycles of barely surviving to seasons of plenty once your soulmate shows up. The purpose of such abundance is to build, not to brag. Heaven's plan is to provide the virtuous wealth so they may leave behind legacies that glorify God. Think about Joseph's experience in Egypt. Similar to how your marriage will carry a Joseph-like mantle where others panic in scarcity, you will stand in stability where others are shaken by certainty, and you will release peace because the foundation of your covenant is secure. What appeared to be betrayal and slavery was actually God's strategy to position him through Joseph's wisdom, which stored resources in abundance during good years so that entire nations could survive famine. Consider riches to be a river. It becomes stale if it just flows to you. However, if it passes through you, it feeds the susta communities on the soil and gives life to everything it comes into contact with. Wealth will not be held in a clenched fist by your love. You strolling by their side will assist them in guiding its flow with discernment and wisdom as they manage it with open hands. Your waiting season has been crucial for this reason. Had you received much from God too soon, it could have escaped your grasp. You may not have realized their mission if he had sent your soulmate before you were ready. However, you are now prepared to manage, increase, and bless in addition to receiving. Imagine torrents of water planting a tree. It has broad branches, deep roots, and an abundance of fruit. In its shadow, generations of people find protection and sustenance. Your vow will grow into that tree. You will see others discover life under its branches in addition to enjoying its fruit. Remember this reality, chosen one. Selfishness is not what stability is. Being provisional is not arrogant. They are sacred when placed in the proper hands. They are instruments that heaven employs to create blessings and destroy curses that have been passed down through generations. Additionally, the stability you are going to enter will allay your previous anxieties. You won't have to worry about whether the earth will support you anymore. The days of watching over your shoulder and waiting for things to go wrong are past. Rather, you will walk on firm ground, certain that what God has unified cannot be destroyed. This isn't fiction. It's a tactic. Heaven is purposeful. Every night you pondered if God still remembered you. Every prayer you said, and every tear you shed. It was all worthwhile. All of it was a part of getting ready for this. And you won't only be happy for yourself when it's all said and done. You will be happy for your kids, for your family, and for the lives that your covenant will change. Because your marriage is a legacy as well as a gift. Imagine it as a relay race, where the torch is carried from one runner to the next. You will not be the end of the flame you carry. It will keep illuminating the way for all who follow. Your commitment goes beyond friendship. It turns into a legacy. God took his time for this reason. The weight of generations cannot be supported by a hastily constructed foundation. However, a well-placed, tried and true one can withstand the renown of inheritance without breaking. God does not leave two lives exposed when he joins them for his purpose. Every agreement that heaven has written is protected by God. The romance that is being written for you is not brittle. It is protected. Angels are designated. There are prayers everywhere. And everything God has decreed is protected by his own hand. Imagine a stronghold perched on a hill. Even if enemies march, their weapons won't be able to reach the walls. Despite their ability to fly, arrows are ineffective against the stronghold's height. Your covenant will be like that. Even if it is assaulted, it will not be vanquished. It will not be shaken, even if it is put to the test. This promise is stated in the prophet Nahum's chapter 1, verse 7. The Lord is kind and a haven when things become tough. Those that trust him are important to him. And this sanctuary will be carried by your marriage. It will protect you from storms that used to make you shudder. You will find refuge there from conflicts that formerly overtook you. Not because there won't be any difficulties in life, but rather because the defense of your relationship will be more robust than the opposition. Think about the Job narrative. God's wall of protection was always there, preventing the adversary from touching him without his consent, even though everything he possessed was taken away and they attempted to destroy him. Restoration was waiting on the other side, even when he was put to the test. Similar to this, your covenant will be upheld even if it encounters difficulties. You are surrounded by a strong hedge. It never dies. Imagine having a shield that protects you from all sides as you go across a battlefield. Arrows may shower, flames may flare, yet you come out unscathed. God's pledge over your covenant is that protection. It ensures victory, but does not ensure that there will be no conflict. Selected 1. Keep this in mind. No force of evil can take away God's seal once it has been applied. Your marriage is set in stone. Your future is secure. No matter how much the adversary tries to create misunderstanding, envy, or distraction, it will fail. Wisdom also entails protection. God will provide you the wisdom to identify voices that are out of place around your covenant. He will cut off connections that might undermine confidence. He will protect your house from forces that want to cause strife. This protection won't always seem like a big deal. Often, it will seem to be tranquility, peace that prevents the emergence of conflict, peace that transforms disagreements into understanding, tranquility that stifles doubtful voices. Imagine a shepherd keeping an eye on his flock at night. With a rod in hand, the shepherd keeps watch as wolves lurk in the shadows. The flock is unable to sleep because of their